Good morning, friends. I think I have the audio and video both working correctly this morning, so I'm calling that a win. I also have and remembered my coffee. That's another win. I'm gonna take a sip. It has been a very difficult stretch over here. I suppose exemplified by my technical problems abounding last week, both with this tea time when I didn't have the microphone settings correct for the video, so within the webcam, and then with Planned Not Scripted, we recorded an entire episode and the file was unusable. So I'm going to kind of touch upon that a little bit. And a general theme today, which is sometimes everybody needs a sick day. So that's our theme. So let's dive in. Okay, so last week, after that little debacle, I was feeling just out of sorts, I guess you could say, and I was at the end of my first week in a 2-week stretch of not having in-person teaching, and I really wanted to take advantage of that time to be able to do other things, like work on my writing project. That was the big thing. And you just have kind of a time to refresh and recharge between teaching weeks and to prepare for our next in-person week, which begins September 26th. So I had, that was my goal. Well, as is often the case, things did not turn out the way that I planned. So this week began on Monday with me feeling very stressed out. So, and I hate to keep harping on this theme, but this blog that this podcast is based out of is called Life of a Catholic Librarian. And so I just talk about life and the things that happen, and sometimes life is like this, and hopefully you can relate and apply it in your life in a way that is helpful to you. So what ended up happening for these 2 weeks, so now I'm at the end of the second week at this point, what ended up happening is that I got nothing done that I planned to get done. Why? Well, because the way that things are set up this semester, with us each having so many sections that we're responsible for, they're 1 credit each. So that's not a lot of teaching for each of the sections. Granted, it's 1 hour a week, but there's 21 unique students in each of those incarnations, some of those cores. So by the time the first of these online weeks began, so the weeks that I didn't have to in-person teach, the questions started rolling in an email form about the assignments, because by then it was the 3rd week of the semester. So, they're starting to work on things. And so the questions start to roll in, and I have been spending every day hours answering email because there's so many. And we've had to create videos and handouts to explain things that we thought were very simple in terms of just submitting assignments, clicking on links, things that to us it seemed intuitive that it was a link, but it was not to the students because they're unfamiliar with our course management system. So it was very time consuming, very, very time consuming. And there were also problems that came up within our course management system where we're housing all of our course materials. So, comes up, something happened with one of the quizzes that needs to be fixed. There's something, human error. We made a mistake when we created one of the assignments, and so now it needs to be fixed. Well, all of this requires some manipulation within the course management system, which means that there's just a lot of clicking, click, click, click this, within the settings to fix it. Well, with us each having about 15 sections, you have to do that all 15 individual times. There's no way to just do it from, we had one master class before this all began, but now it's been separated out into these individual courses, and so there's no way to push the content into all of them now from one place. You have to go in and do them one by one. Time consuming. So these 2 weeks have just taken on a life of their own that I didn't anticipate, and it really took a toll on me mentally because I'm sure you know this about me by now, okay, if you've been with me for some time on the blog and or the podcast. I'm type A, really, and I had something in mind that I wanted to get done. And to say that it did not get done does not even begin to come close to what the experience was. It was like I went backwards. It was terrible. These 2 weeks have really been very difficult on me and on everybody else because it was unexpected, and we're just flying by that. We're just constantly putting out fires. There's just been not a lot of time to have any kind of a breather while at work. Like, okay, but it's our job. I mean, it's not supposed to be fun. It's supposed to be work. And so that's okay. But I'm going about all of this, and it's just the frustration, especially with the emails, which, they're all from individual students. And some people are nicer than others, right? The level of frustration was high for me dealing with all of this. And so the week is progressing, and all of this is going poorly. There's more things coming up. And now, coming up Monday, today's Friday, coming up Monday, one moment, might need more coffee. We have to go back to teaching again in person. And we're going to be doing that for 4 straight weeks. And then we'll have one online week right before Halloween. And then we have an additional 3 weeks in a row. So between Monday and Thanksgiving, the American Thanksgiving holiday, I will only have 1 week where I'm not going to be in the classroom teaching 15 sections, 3 hours a day. In addition to the 2 hours of email that I've been answering every day, which isn't an exaggeration. That's about how long it's been taking me, between an hour and a half and 2 hours. And fixing any of the course management system problems that come up, which I'm sure there's going to be more. It's just the nature of the beast. This is the first time we've ever done this. There's going to be mistakes when we were frantically planning all this all summer long. And we also have to prepare for each new week as a week is coming to its close to look at the new material, because again, we haven't taught it in this exact way before. I mean, could I always improvise all of this? Of course I could, because I've been a teaching librarian for a long time. But I don't like to do it to that extent. I like to really feel prepared. If I'm going to go into a classroom, it's not like a dance performance where you can really just interpret in your own way and just rely on your movement vocabulary to put on a performance. With teaching, I need to have that confidence that I know exactly what I'm going to do from moment to moment. It doesn't have to be scripted, because I don't work that way even when I teach, but I need it to be really highly organized so that I feel comfortable and confident and then can put my best foot forward to present the material in an understandable way. And there just has not been time to do that. So that's making me anxious and nervous, because I feel like I won't be prepared for the classes, and that makes me feel badly. I want to be able to do as good a job as possible. So this all is just kind of like reaching a crescendo. And I've been doing all of these things to try to relieve my stress, like I've been blogging about for weeks. And while they, did have their own positive impact, and I'm going to continue with them, with the prayer and my weekly journal posts and all of these things that I've been trying to do, is working on some spiritual reading. I did start the Mother Angelica book last night, or 2 nights ago, and I'm loving it. If you are interested in Mother Angelica, Her Grand Silence, that's the one. That's the most recent book about her. I'm on chapter 1, and I love it. So, that's been really helping. But it really was building up inside that I was struggling, and that the level of load that had been put on our shoulders for this semester was really too much, in my opinion. I'm just being honest. I don't think I'm alone in that opinion, and while it's comforting to have people going through the same thing as you are, it doesn't relieve any of the day-to-day burden, really, for any of us. So things on Wednesday were like worse than ever, with just the emails out the wazoo. There was another quiz mistake. It's like, okay, we have to do this. So that means like 100 clicks 15 times, and I was just like on the edge. All right. So the good thing is that I have an outstanding team of colleagues. Wonderful. And it's very much pressed into us that we must have work-life balance. So, none of us work here past 5 o'clock, unless for some of the other librarians have evening classes, but you know what I mean, that you do not take your work home with you. It's not like when I was an attorney and you had deadlines, and so it was like midnight, 2 a.m. It's got to get done. It's not like that, obviously. But while we're here, it has been it's been really difficult. So Wednesday was very stressful, and it just followed many very stressful days coming before it, preceding it. That's the word I was looking for. And Thursday morning, overnight, so like 2 o'clock in the morning, I woke up with a splitting, horrible headache. And I've had really bad seasonal allergies this season, much worse than I've ever had before. And I think that this was related. It was a sinus headache, and it woke me up because it was so bad. And I was just in a lot of pain. And so Mike got up and got me an ibuprofen and some water so I didn't have to get out of bed, and I swallowed it. But, it takes some time to kick in. And I just laid there in misery. And I just had I had a moment. It was longer than a moment, but I was just like beside myself. I started crying, and Mike, of course, is very concerned. I said, I'm thinking about all these weeks coming up, and I was just having a very difficult time thinking about how I was going to be able to get it done. Just given that I have had no time to prepare, and that all of us have just been so just pushed to the absolute limit in terms of what, the very, keeping it real, very annoying things that we've had to deal with. And, Mike is, of course, worried. Are you okay? What can I do? I need to sleep. But I couldn't sleep. And I'm thinking about all this and just all these weeks coming up with no respite. And, taking a day off, not a possibility, because we're teaching 5 days a week, and it's too difficult to get people to sub for you because everybody's teaching about the same time. And so I was up for hours. And when 6:30 rolled around, I was in very bad shape. I still had a headache. It wasn't quite as intense, but it was like, one of those that are like in the back of your head. And it had been 4 hours, so I needed more ibuprofen. And I was very nauseous. And I think it's related to just it's allergies. Just all going, draining. Blech, we don't need to focus on that. But I think that's what it was. But I did not feel well. And it is very rare for me to take a sick day. And because we don't really take long vacations. I'll take long weekends here and there. I've gone to conferences and to visit friends. But I very rarely take off because the way that we've been able to afford to pay for our graduate school loans, while at the same time having kids in Catholic school, and of course having a mortgage payment, and just all of the day-to-day, the type of expenses you have as young parents. No excuse of the word young. We're being very optimistic today, and all of that is that we really don't take vacations. That's where we save the money so that we can pay off that graduate school debt, and we're like almost there. I'm very proud of us. But, it's been a long time that we've been really working on getting that paid off. Mike has a PhD and I have a law degree, and those are expensive. So we've been working hard on that. And so we don't really take vacations. Well, this really is not necessarily a good thing. Everybody needs a break. And even sick time. I'm a person, I have fear of missing out. I really do, FOMO, really bad. And so I always feel guilty to take the time off. And so I'm very bad about using my sick days. I'll feel better if I just go in and get some things done. And I'll take like a quarter day off or a half day. But I don't often take a full sick day. And with having, my kids being somewhat spaced apart in age, somebody was always at home. And so if I stayed home from work, I was going to have a child there. My in-laws obviously care for the kids when we're both at work, but a lot of the time, because Mike's an adjunct, he can take care of the kids, when he's not teaching. And so if that was the time when he wasn't teaching, whatever child it was would be home, like Anne most recently. And having a kid at home, when you're sick, there's no quiet. No really ability to rest. And so I was just always like, I might as well just go to work, because at least I'll get that, so I don't have to worry about that stuff, get it done. Well, that's really not the best way to go about things, I have found. And that reached a head yesterday. But Thursday morning, the morning, I'm laying in bed, I couldn't get out of bed. I was so nauseous. The headache was so bad still. And I literally can't go. And it really forced my hand. And in a way, it was really good, because I laid in bed I let work know I couldn't come in, and I had no choice but to rest. And I fell back to sleep for a little bit. And eventually I woke up again and I just rested for a little while, and then I was able to get up. I felt enough better that I was able to do that. And Mike was home because he doesn't teach until the afternoons this semester. And I had a really, really lovely day. It was so needed. I can't believe that I have deprived myself of this very important way of resting and recharging. Sometimes you need a break and you need a sick day. I mean, really. And of course, you need vacation too, but I was sick and I should not come into work when I'm sick, and I need to stop doing that. It was the best thing I could have possibly done. So I was there with Mike for a little bit in the morning. I propped myself up with the laptop and answered some work email because it was making me anxious, the thought of it piling up. But, it was okay. I made some tea. Mike was there working on some things on the desktop. And then he went to work and I had the house to myself, which is very unusual. And I just took it easy. I took care of myself. I did some things around the house. I did some laundry. I folded clothes and, did a few other things that needed to get done in terms of tidying. But it was so restful. I watched HGTV shows about flipping houses, and I made the tea, and I was on just, on my social media sites a little bit on my phone, just unwinding and relaxing and allowing myself to just enjoy those things. And it really, really helped. And so I'm back at work today, and I'm going to be honest, I don't really want to be, but I do feel a lot better than I have. And, we're going to start teaching again on Monday. Again, being honest, I'm dreading it a little bit because it's just hard for me to function at such a frantic pace with my personality. I like things to be like nice and stable and, even as opposed to like this up and down and up and, and just putting out fires. And there's all you need to do that. And then there's this and there's 50 emails here. And then there's, I find that really difficult to manage, but it's gonna be okay. I think about my kids really like that Toy Story short. I don't remember what it's called, but it's the Halloween one, Toy Story of Terror. That's what it's called. I love the Toy Story. What do you call that franchise? I find those movies just very meaningful, even for adults, and enjoyable to watch. And so in that particular short, Jessie has this, I'm sorry, I'm going off on a tangent, but this is what I do well. So she has this fear because she was in packed away for a long time. And so she has this fear of being in boxes and being closed up. And she needs to get into a box so that she can get into a delivery truck and save Woody. And so she has to be sealed into this box. And before that happens, she had met some other toys. And this one toy had given her a pep talk and telling her that, you always have to find a way. And so she's in the box and she's kind of panicking once it's sealed. But then, she tells herself, Jessie finds a way. I love that moment in the movie. And, she finds a letter that's in there and it has a paper clip clipping it to something else. And she gets and opens up the taped seal with the paper clip, the edge of the paper clip. And so I just sort of have that scene in my head, that Jessie finds a way. I'm going to find a way to manage the workload and to just, with my personality that likes a lot of structure, I'm going to find a way to deal with a situation that does not have a lot of structure. And it's going to be okay. And I'm going to be blogging about it. It has been really helping. I love my new philosophy where I just take, the short, even if I just have 10 or 15 minutes, I can still write to you and I can have that cathartic experience and feel better just in that 10 minutes. And so I'm going to be doing that a lot. I'm going to be continuing with those little Inspire posts, and I'm going to be continuing with my morning prayer on the Divine Office app, and it's going to be okay. I mean, obviously this is not a big problem. There are many, many, many problems in this world that are so much larger than this one. I recognize that. But this is just, in terms of day to day, this is life. This is what I'm dealing with, and everybody has their ways of dealing with things. And for me, this has been challenging. So I'm just doing the best I can. I'm drinking a lot of coffee and tea too. I find them beneficial in different ways. So that's where I'm at, my friends. I'm also praying the St. Therese Novena, which is one of my favorite every year. I'll put a link in the show notes if you want to sign up. It's only day 2, so you can catch up. And I would love to hear from you because it always cheers me up. What's going on with you this fall? How you deal with stress? Are you planning on joining in the Inspire journaling posts? Let me know. And until next week, I hope you have a wonderful weekend. Bye.